Hi there, welcome to my channel. Today's recipe that I'll be sharing with you is stuffing. This weekend will be Easter, and we always celebrate it with turkey and stuffing. Now this stuffing recipe has been made by my mother since she came to Canada in 1966, and it has now become a family traditional recipe. I hope you enjoy it. If so, please give it a thumbs up, and also let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. Do you have a different recipe for stuffing? This is the only one we've ever known. Anyways, please subscribe to the channel. It's easy and it's free. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm making some stuffing to both go. I'm going to make a large portion, and it's to both go in a casserole dish and to go in the turkey. Now, I used to chop this by hand, but now I use my food processor. It's a lot faster, and there are a lot of onions. We could throw the garlic. I just peeled it. It's still whole. We could throw the garlic in there as well. Okay. Okay, and I just pulse it until I see it's more or less all chopped up. Ooh, that's making me great. Okay, now we take the celery. It's a whole full stalk. I usually put aside two of the tougher, larger pieces to put in the baking dish with the turkey. So now we just cut this into smaller pieces and just put them in the food processor. Again. Okay, it just took a couple of minutes, something that would have taken me who knows how long to chop by hand. This looks like a lot, but once it gets cooking, it'll reduce. And I am making a large turkey. It's 11 kilos. My family loves to have leftovers, and they want enough stuffing to be left over as well. So I usually stuff the turkey and make a side dish. Now we get the bread ready. We have some baguettes, and they're Italian bread. I use ciabatta as well, ciabatta bread. I used to cut this also by hand, but since I've started making large portions of stuffing, I've started using the food processor as well for the bread. You know, if you don't have a food processor, you just cut it into you know, like sort of crouton-sized pieces. And the best bread for this is day-old bread, because you don't want the bread to be like to have too much moisture, because then it'll go gummy. So I just cut larger pieces. Put those in the food processor. I could do a few more. vegetables, it takes no time. There may be the odd one that's left, a large size piece, but you can see it looks pretty good. And as we make them, as we make the breadcrumbs, each layer that you do in the food processor, you just moisten them with a bit of water. You don't want the bread to be too dry. Moisten them a little bit at this layer, and then you continue. Got away. Just any big one, just break it up. Okay, so this is the second layer, and now we put a little bit of water on this one as well. So that was 1.5 cups of water that I've just put on the breadcrumbs, just to moisten them a little bit. Now we're going to saute the vegetables, and we have 1/4 cup of olive oil, and butter. Oops. And that's 1 cup of butter. And that's 3.5 cups of onions. And the same amount of celery, 3.5 cups. Again, you could reduce this by half if you're making a smaller turkey. Like I said, mine's 11 kilos. Actually 12 kilos. Okay, now we add 2 teaspoons of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper. This is a 1/4 teaspoon measure. And 1 teaspoon of poultry seasoning. That's half a teaspoon, so we'll put 2. We might need to adjust the seasoning once this has simmered for a bit. Okay, now we leave it uncovered and we let it simmer. Alright, the onions have been sauteing for 30 minutes. And as you can see, the volume has reduced quite a bit. I'm just going to taste this for seasoning. It's okay for salt, but We need another, this is half a teaspoon, so we need 2 of these, so that's another teaspoon of the poultry seasoning. So when you do this, if you have a smaller portion of onions and celery, you might have to saute it for a less amount of time. We did 30, almost 35 minutes of sauteing. And now that it's ready, we can turn this off, and we're going to combine it with the bread. I like to put the pot with the vegetables inside the sink, just to give me a better position for stirring in the bread. And we'll measure and see how many cups. Okay, so that's 8 cups. And we're going to put more bread, but we'll mix this in. So if you mix it in small amounts, it's easier than if you dump all the bread in there. Okay, and that's another 8 cups of bread. You have to combine it really, really well. You need another half teaspoon of poultry seasoning. Okay, I will put some of this now, maybe a third of it I'll put into a casserole, and the rest we'll use it to stuff the turkey with. Okay, we stir the stuffing really well. It looks a little dry, but you want it somewhat dry because then when you stuff the turkey, it'll absorb all the juices. Well, not all the juices, but a lot of the juices from the turkey. And then the one that I have on the casserole, once the turkey is done, I will get some juices from the pan, the turkey pan, and pour over this stuffing, and then put it in the oven for like 5-10 minutes. We've been making this stuffing for years, since, as I mentioned, since my mother came to Canada. She got this recipe, I don't know from where, and she's been making it ever since, and now it's my recipe, and I'll pass it on to my kids. I hope you will enjoy this recipe as much as we do.